Okay, we're going to begin tonight, of course, with the pledge. Jane, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, under public announcements, of course, the council and the community's congratulations to our Olympic team. They're all putting on quite a show over there. Call to the public, Carrie?
I have no speaker slips.
Does anyone wish to speak under call to the public? Sir? If you would, please. Yeah. Identify yourself.
I'm Richard Mays. It's M-A-E-S at 40445 North 32nd Street. And I really need water. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Call to the public is still open. Okay. You can speak again if you wish. Call to the public is still open. Okay. Jane?
Jane Rhodes. I live at 39616 North 26th Street. And I'm going to say what probably most of you know. I hope you know that there are many, many more people actually living here than are on here. I know Carrie was working with information that she had from the speakers list. But there are many more, and there's just no water for sure all along here on the west side of that area. All those people are hurting, and I don't know about on the other side of 26th, but just for information.
Call to the public is still open. Okay, council is going to proceed. There's a single agenda item tonight, and that is the council review, discussion, and possible action of approving a reimbursement agreement with the Cahaba Springs Revitalization District. This is where we are, good people. We are not where we wanted to be. That is, we do not have an agreement, but this is what we are going to do. So you know right off the bat, a number of important things. This council is committed to getting water to the citizens on the west side. Our intent is singular. We have no other ambition but to see that that happens. With that in mind, I'm asking for another special meeting on August the 22nd. A number of things will happen. One is we were not able to come to an agreement with Cahaba. That doesn't mean that between now and then that an agreement cannot be reached. On the August 22nd agenda will be, for council's consideration, the expenditure of money to, Madam Clerk, before I proceed, do we need to telephone in Councilman McGuire in San Francisco?
I believe that he was ending the call.
Oh, he keeps texting me. All right, well, if
I did too.
Peter, would you mind stepping outside and call the councilman and ask him if, I don't want to deny him his rights here. Before council on the 22nd, we'll be requesting the council for an expenditure of funds to do the following. Taking a look at the map of the west side and the water lines, I'm going to divide it into two easy parts. There's the southern sector and the northern sector. The southern sector is owned by the town. The northern sector is owned by Cahaba Springs. It will be up to council for their consideration, discussion, debate, and decision as to whether or not they want to spend the funds to get the southern sector, which has to be done anyway, in order to get water to the citizens on the west side, to get that part of the project done. The northern sector As you might imagine, council cannot act outside of the Constitution. Council cannot embark, no matter how well-intended, on gifts to any private entity. And so we are we are continuing to work with Cahaba Springs to see if we can come up with an agreement to take care of the northern sector. And that's the sector that's part two, that of course is essential to getting water to the citizens on the west side. But again, that is the singular intention of this council to get that done. So council is not going to take action on anything this evening, but I see you all here, so I'm going to open public comment. We will be able to comment within the bounds of executive session. If you have questions, we will certainly try to answer them. But I'm just giving you an overview of what we are doing, and we remain committed to this until it is accomplished. So I will open the public comment now. Mr. Smith.
Terry Smith, Cave Creek resident. This map here is these parcels that are marked in yellow. Are those supposed to be the ones that spoke last meeting, or what? Is that? Oh, that turns in the cards last time. We have several others, like Rich that came up, that want to give their address, let you know, just to put it on public record that you know who they are. But I know that there's a concern with the town about how many residents there are that are looking for water. Well, on my road alone, I think there's 9. Okay, that is, there's 4 on what would be the west side of Ridgecrest, and then it would be another 5 on the east side. It depends on how the water lines were run. In other words, we have a lot of residents that are there. Nothing has been done by any of the residents to hook up, because this has been, as you well know as council, if we would have done it 8 or 9 years ago, we would have expended all the money to run lines up to 26th Street to hook up, and there'd be no water. So what we're waiting for, and what the residents here are waiting for, is commitment. We know there's going to be water in there, and then we can go ahead and run our lines up to get ready to put meters in. So we definitely want council to know that I don't know what the total number of residents are, but like I said, I know that.
Yes, I hear that better now.
My
and I request that people speak into the microphone. I am interested in hearing what the citizens have to say.
sorry, Tom. Is that better? This is Terry Smith.
Yes, that's it. Hello, Terry.
Okay. Anyway, we just want you to know that there's a lot of residents. They'll give you some more addresses here, but there's plenty of residents ready to go. And of course, it's going to take time for us to hook up on it. North of Saddle Mountain Road, there's a possibility that there would actually be an improvement district put in. I would say that south of Saddle Mountain Road, there are private easements, and we would be looking at the situation of bringing water up our private easement, lines up to private easements to 26th Street. But we appreciate very, very much. And it's come a long ways in our mind just from the last meeting, what the council is trying to do, and we do appreciate it. We are hoping to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I did talk to Mark Stapp, and I think that we're going to have full cooperation with them, especially if they can get their bonds and things through, and this whole thing will go. And if the town can finish the 300-foot that's needed south of Joy Ranch Road and have it ready to go, it'll just make it much quicker to get the whole job done.
That'll come to council on Monday. Can council assume that all the citizens on the west side want water?
Well, I would say that there's a few that feel that they have good enough wells, but I will say this. I thought I had a good enough well, and I was supposed to be producing 12 gallons a minute. And one day I thought my pump went out and found out that it was producing 1/16 of a gallon a minute. So a lot of people that think they have good wells, or if they really ran a pump test, would find that they don't. So I think there's a whole lot more. But yes, we have lots of them out there that are hauling water or have wells that are questionable, or even have wells that say, I want to have water just in case for backup and make sure I have plenty of water. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Deal with the bonds and what we talked about earlier today on the phone about that, the private individual suing the town over not the legalities of it.
Yeah, we had heard rumors that the town had received a letter stating that there'd be a lawsuit against the town. Is that what you're talking?
That one is that individual.
Is that something we'd like to know? Is if there's that much opposition to us getting water, and what that might be? That would be helpful for us to understand what is going on, if it's possible. Thank you.
Mayor, I believe he's talking about the email. They spoke about the gift clause, that issue.
Council is aware that it may not extend gifts to private entities.
Correct.
What if we bought it here? What if we got together on the west side?
Wait, sir, if you wish to talk, come up here, please.
You know what? Terry and I have been talking a lot about this, but
At the
I'm J.D.
microphone.
Smith. I live on the west side.
Mhm.
What if we got together as a community over there and bought that line?
You're
that
talking about
possible?
the
From
Phase B?
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
that would be a discussion you would have to enter into
Is
with
that
Cahaba
a
Springs.
legal possibility?
Mean like an improvement district?
Yeah, that if we got together, instead of spending all this money on suing you, spend that money on buying it and taking care of it. Then when Cahaba Springs come in, they can buy it back from us, or they can,
I really cannot give you any legal advice. What I would suggest is the money that you're talking about in suing the town, keep it aside for the party once we get the water to you.
are you going to go? Thank you.
Anna?
Anna Marsolo, Cave Creek. I have two observations and a question. In 2005, I was at the council hearings, and Mr. Stapp asked for two exceptions to the subdivision ordinance. I think one had to do with shortening the length of a cul-de-sac, and the other, I think, had to do with the septic percolation test. At no time was there a discussion about waiving the performance bond. If our subdivision statute in the state of Arizona required that there be a performance bond put on hold with the town for situations like this, Peter, can you enlighten the audience and me? Why wasn't this done? Why isn't there a bond in place as per what mayor and council should have done? Thank you.
At the time, I'm not sure what the requirement was. I know Mr. Staff is here, he could explain, but I don't know what the requirement was. And I know the town engineer at that time, in 2007, did not take action to default on the development agreement at that time, and I wasn't privy to why he chose not to do that.
Public comment is still open? Sir?
I'm John Miller. I live up on Saddle Mountain Road, and in relation to what this lady just said, I was told by, I think, the former city manager that the city was in partners with Cahaba Springs development, and therefore they had no completion bond. On a project of this size that impacts this many people and this big a scope, who dropped the ball? And why was I told that there was no completion bond, or why was I told that the city of Cave Creek was in partners with Cahaba Springs Ranch? Can anybody answer that?
We are not in partnership.
I am not aware of any partnership.
Okay, well, that was what I was told by the city manager at the time, or Osama, whoever Osama was.
You may have misspoke. We are not partners in Cahaba Springs. I don't see that at all.
Okay. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
Okay, sir, did you wish to speak?
Yes, Mayor. My name is Michael Wolf. Most of you know me because I've known about this project since it started in 2008. I'm well aware of the discussions, and Vince, you were at Terry Smith's house, along with Usama and Mark Stapp. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but I was the one that asked, given all the comments, if we had a performance bond. And the answer that I was told was no. So I share the similar concerns that were just mentioned by John, and I'm sure a lot of other people, that a project of this size you would contract out without some assurance of a bond of some sort. Last time I checked, it's now August 2016. It's 8 years later. I filled in my pool 3 years ago because it was costing me over $500 a month to get water. Fortunately, I pay a lot less, but I can almost throw a rock even at my age and hit the last water hydrant. I live at 40315 North 32nd Street, which is right around the corner from the from the Saddle Mountain Road, 32nd Street alignment. As with everybody else on the left side, I need water. I don't know how else to say it. And you guys need to step up and do your job.
3 minutes.
Am I out of time? I think that's pretty clear. Vince, you and I have been talking. Mark, you and I have known each other forever. It's time to step up and take care of your citizens. We're not your stepchildren, okay? We're a part of your residents of this town. Please treat us that way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Richard Mays, I just need to re-request that I get water. The address is 40445 North 32nd Street.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Janie Morden, and our address is 39913 North 26th Street. I live, my husband and I live right down the road from Terry Smith, and I would also like to be our property put with all these other people on that list also. I happened to be at home that morning when the home that burnt down was right close to our home. There was a water hydrant right by our barn, and it was very unfortunate that we have horses and dogs, and it's a very frightening thing early in the morning that you're hearing and you're seeing debris in the air. And so we would like to be a part of it, and hopefully that we can get some water turned on our property too.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. You're welcome. Town manager.
Mayor, Council, just for reference, I know we have, I think, 11 properties located on the map. Those are not the properties that just get water. We just use those for reference, just because those people spoke in the other car. The concept, on my understanding, is for all the residents is to be the.
Oh, right. Okay.
So don't take it as, it's only goes around.
Okay, my name's Wendy Karichuk. We live at 40577 North 26th Street. We were two houses away from that fire on 26th Street, and I called the fire department, and I saw the 30-foot flames and the fire trucks that couldn't get water and had water truck companies bringing water. But Mayor Francia, I remember that meeting at Terry Smith's house several years ago, and you came in to our area of Cave Creek, and you were trying to get the Walmart in, and you told us that us West Side people had the ability to make a difference in the vote, and that if we gave you Walmart, you would get us water. Walmart's been there, and our water is not. It's not going to cost that much to connect those two lines.
Point taken. First of all, you're correct. it's not the cost of connecting the two lines, it's that,
You don't know who owns the line yet, do you?
no, we know we own one sector and the Cahaba Springs owns the other.
Is Cahaba Springs still an active company and business?
I can't speak,
Have they gone defunct over this?
I can't speak to Cahaba Spring. To my knowledge, they have not. The only point I wish to make, it's not a matter of expense, it's a matter of who owns what.
That seems to me it would be a very simple thing to find out, and why has it spent 8 or 9 years in finding that out?
Point taken.
Thank you.
Still open, public comment.
Good evening, C.W. Jensen. I do not know how much this project would cost, so, and no one else seems to, so could you tell me how much this is going to cost? You say it's not going to cost that much.
No, I said it's not a matter of cost, it's a matter of ownership.
Do you know what it costs?
That will be coming to council August 22nd.
Got it.
Yep. Public comment is still open.
Michael Wolf again. Just for clarity, what is the northern boundary? Because the map I just can't understand.
That's a water line?
Yes, because we live right on the other side of Saddle Mountain and 32nd, so the nearest water hydrant is 0.2 of a mile down the hill. So I understand to energize the system and do the 6-inch line, but for Rich and me and my wife and his wife, who are the only two residents that own improved properties on 32nd Street, that means the line would have to continue on. Do you own that? Or is that something that Cahaba Springs owns? To this lady's question, I don't know, Vince.
Yeah,
can you help me understand?
I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Town manager, could you delineate what the town owns and what Cahaba Spring owns, please?
If we take a look at the map that handed out, looking right in the middle of it where the green line ends halfway, it's called backflow. That's a backflow preventer. So that south, so all the brown and the red lines are actually owned by the town of Cape Creek. The green line is owned by Cahaba Springs. So we have two areas that have gaps. One is 363 feet, the other one's 274 feet. The problem is, if you look at the color code, we have an 8-inch pipe that brings water in, then it shrinks down to a 6-inch pipe, and then it would connect back to an 8-inch pipe, and then if it was to connect to Cahaba Springs, that's a 12-inch pipe. We call that the impingement. There's just not enough, so we need to flow and volume, so we need to make those pipes connect at an 8-inch. We also have a valve box in case water comes from the tanks on the other side. And as they go through that valve box, they go from a 6-inch to a 4-inch with a 3-inch bypass to back to a 6-inch. So that's also like another impingement. So those items kind of restrict the flow. So when we talk about what the town owns or is in control of, it's from the backflow preventer south, all those red and brown lines. And the green line that's in the ground now, today, but it's not connected to our line. Water's been in here from somewhere 8 or 9 years, so it needs to be cleaned and chlorinated and connected and all that sort of stuff. So that's the highlights of that. And we just put a couple references for the bridges at the end and where the end point is of the line. And like I said, we took addresses from folks who spoke at the last meeting just as reference points, so people could have some sense of where that line is. If you notice, the line kind of snakes around. We have a lot of dead ends affect pressure and flow, so we're going to try to do some more loops in there to increase that. But that's the system that we have right now in a non-technical view.
Okay. Public comment is still open.
Good evening. Dennis Steele, 2420 East Desert Hills Drive. I just, when you were speaking, something became obvious to me, and I was just curious.
No.
No? Say the, subdivision would have went as planned. Where were these pinch points? How are they going to be taken care of then?
Part of the agreement was when Cahaba Springs was going to do the line upgrades, they were going to fix the impingements, both the valve and the two gaps, and they would connect through the backflow, and they would, obviously chlorinate and back.
Okay, so is this part of what the council is also negotiating with them, I guess, is the question? Like their portion of improving on that?
Right now, it's in negotiations with council. There is some hiccups. In Arizona, the law says the town cannot provide public funds for private benefit. So I know legal counsel is looking at the Cahaba Springs line, how to bring that into the fold. And I think that needs some work, and I think the council's working on that, the legal counsel's working on that. So things that are red and brown, I think the council is within their full authority to do what needs to be done.
For public good or kind of
The green
thing?
line, I
Okay.
think, needs to be worked out. I think legal is doing that. Regardless, you have to fix both pieces to get water up.
Right.
In my mind, I think the council's in their full authority and should work on the red and the brown areas, just because we need to do that no matter what. And
Correct.
if you don't do that, you got water up there, but 5 gallons a minute doesn't help you, so we need to fix that.
That's what will be before council on August 22nd. That which we own, we can move on. And hopefully on August 22nd, we can also come to an agreement with Cahaba Springs to keep moving forward.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kerry Smith, Cave Creek resident. I know that this has been a rushed meeting, and so there was limited time for preparing the material. On August 22nd, it would be very useful to know what portions of the brown and the red would need to be completed with dotted lines or something, and cost estimates in order to have some sense of what's essential to meet these people's needs first. Let's put a priority on that first, and then move to the other parts that may also need fixing and it would be worthwhile to fix. In addition, it would be nice to think of the incentives for Cahaba Springs to help us in this. I think the town has given a number of concessions to Cahaba Springs to facilitate their development. It seems to me we might want to consider reneging on those concessions to the extent that they don't cooperate with us. Thank you.
Town manager.
First part of your question, the 2 gaps in the valve block. That's where it is. That's where it is. And then, obviously, if we take over the green line, chlorination, back B, that's types.
Catherine Smith, West Side resident. Now, as we were looking at this map, it doesn't show that there is any sufficient line that's in place that Cave Creek owns that will, the largest is going to be an 8-inch line, is that correct? And if you have these 8-inch lines, will that suffice for a 12-inch line? And if everything has been in the future, and our whole quality of life has depended upon this future that has not come to be. And so now if I'm looking at it, and I wish I were more aware on this, but the size of lines, if we had a 6-inch line, would that suffice to provide water for our communities?
Right now, you essentially have a 6-inch line. My understanding from the engineers, and I'm not an engineer, that they need to be increased, minimum to 8, for a week to 12. But the plan is, my understanding is, and the engineers will have a better sense of this than I, to bring those lines where the gaps are up to an 8-inch line, so we'll have that 8-inch flow.
And that'll still go into the 12-inch line without any hindrance?
I don't know,
Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I really don't care at all about the future of a development on Cahaba Springs. It doesn't affect my life, but this water, or the no water, has affected me just tremendously, because our 4 homes are right there. And what we have to do just to survive for our basic needs, it's just, I mean, that's why we're at our wits' ends. But if we've got this nice 8-inch line that's coming right up, is that 32nd Street? Why don't we just hook in and put 8-inch all over and fix us? And then, forget Cahaba Springs, because that's not my town.
that 8-inch she's talking about on 32nd ends before the wash, which is a considerable wash, and I'm not sure of the engineering on that, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
And I understand what you're concerned, and I'm not an engineer, I don't even pretend to have any knowledge of this, but this 12-inch line, if that is overdone and it's just put in because that's what that development needs, has really, if that's causing me not to have basic needs, I don't care about that anymore. It's like, how can we do it? Is that what you're going to do now, is see how we can do it without having to satisfy Cahaba Springs needs?
Right now, I think the council speaks better than I, but they want to provide water up there. Sorry. The easiest way to do it is to connect those 2 8-inch lines, fix the valve, to get water up there. I can't speak for the 12-inch line because we don't own that. I think there's some legal limbo about that, but.
Yeah, because if a 12-inch line is going to stop us, let's just put an 8-inch line in. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chris Hendel. I'm at 2626 East Ridgecrest, West Side. We've been there about 8 years, and we still want water. 8 years ago, so.
Jane, did you wish to speak?
Jane Rhodes, I'm still on the west side. Two issues I wanted to bring up. One is, way back, I think it was around the time of those meetings where you came over there and stuff, but among the many rumors that I heard was that there was a need for a pumping station to get that water up there. Now, I don't know if that was specifically to get it all the way up to Cahaba Springs, but I don't want to throw a wrinkle in this whole thing. I want the water up there. But do we need a pumping station? Is that part of the...
Well, my understanding for this part of the project, no, but for other parts of the project, yes.
To go further up there. Okay, that makes sense looking at the terrain.
I don't want to speak, I'm not an engineer,
Okay.
but my understanding is at this point, no, other than for the other parts of the project, yes.
I just figure if we're all going to be in this huge kerfluffle over this whole thing, we might as well make sure that you don't end up doing all this to get us water and then, it dribbles out of the lines anyway. So we'll be all back here again. Well, maybe not with all of you, but your future council members. The other thing I just wanted to bring up, and this is not really so much to you, council, except to those of you who are running and to the other candidates, and really to the citizens at large in Cave Creek. It concerns me to see some of the dialogue going on now, for example, in Steve Alley's political forum on Facebook, and then some other emails and stuff, that they're starting to set up this east-west thing, and people saying, if you got water problems, that's your problem, you fix it. It's not our obligation. It's not, why should we have to pay for that? And that really concerns me because I'm sure that, I mean, I have come to council meetings to support people, like support the people near Lowe's who didn't want Meritage going in. I mean, ultimately, if we want to be a community, I hope we act like a community, and that people on the east side go, yeah, we want our west side neighbors to have water, just like they would want us to support them in the issues that they have. And just want to make that point. Thank you.
Council's authority extends to health, safety, and welfare of the community. Not of the east, not of the west, north or south of the community. Okay, 15 of you have spoken. For those that wish, I'm conducting office hours tomorrow at 9 o'clock if you wish to discuss this further.
8 or 9?
8, what did I say, 9? Oh, I got a 9 o'clock at the track. Speaking of water, for those of you who live along New River Road, like Councilman Esser and I do, an 8-inch line blew. The crews are out there getting it fixed, hopefully.
Can I make a suggestion?
Of course,
One
sir.
more. I know you have 15 speakers, but can I make a suggestion?
Of course you can.
Why, just looking at this off-site, why don't we run from this 12-inch line? Why don't we run straight up here and go over the line? I mean, the distance is just about the same, maybe 200-300 feet more, but you have a lot easier access to get to that backflow, because this is all open, this is all open, instead of working in through all these the valves and that you're talking about. Why couldn't we just avoid some of that?
Straight up.
Presently,
Yeah, it's right away.
the least expensive alternative we're looking at, while there's no official numbers, is over $215,000 for these gaps and for that valve box. Valve box has to be done no matter what we do. My understanding is if we do something like you said, it's far more expensive because we have to dig and trench versus the two short areas, in my mind, that we have to dig and trench. So this is the most cost-effective method to get water up there at a higher volume than we're doing now and better pressure than we're doing now.
I'm correct in assuming this is an 8-inch line?
The brown is 6 inch.
6 inch.
All on that.
So
The brown and red were put in by the previous owner of the water company, Global.
So we're gonna go 6'6".
no.
Oh, no.
On the bottom is an 8.
This is 8?
Dick can hear.
Red is 8.
Big
Okay,
choice.
so this is where we're gonna, right here, and go in
And
and
then
then,
again out here.
so that we'll actually have an 8-inch line, 8 line.
Low pressure, better flow.
Sir, take my map because it has the legend on it. You don't need it? Okay. Okay, if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. And August,
One more.
If I may just say one more thing, he was just stating that it is a matter of money. Is that correct?
No, I'm just telling you what the estimated cost is right now. The council decides how we spend the money.
Right.
So,
I just don't want to be held hostage because Cahaba Springs has not continued on. I mean, that's just thinking.
okay, one last comment, and council is going to adjourn for the evening.
Yeah, just for the avoidance of doubt, that line, the existing 12-inch line that I mentioned ends 0.2 of a mile before the Mays and Wolf residence, as well as Benzer. There's actually 4 people, but they go around that corner and the end line circle right there. I just want to go on record that for the 822 meeting, that the residents that are on 32nd Street, that goes about another quarter mile, are included in the consideration for the water line.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out this evening and for speaking. And please, on the date on the 22nd, carries out a Monday? Okay, Monday, August the 27th. Thank you again. Motion to adjourn, council.
So moved.
Second. No.